Hey folks, Jonathan here. Jordan sandblasting on his clawfoot tub for his house. We're down to the 59 here. Okay folks, we've got this thing up in the air. Hopefully it's not going to be too noisy when he goes to sandblasting, but we're getting ready to get the wheels off. And maybe clean the rims up and try to get some tires and some brakes and all that good stuff. So anyway, I wanted to show everybody the bottom side of this car. There's nothing, there's no rust whatsoever anywhere on the floor. Looks like we got old thrush mufflers on it. That's what they look like. I thought the exhaust was worse than it was. Or it is. Believe it or not, there's a hole up toward the front I can fix, and I can put 2 tailpipes on it and just run it like it is. The downpipe's got a hole in it. We can fix that. A little oily under here, but or not oily, but you know, built up grease from over the years. But as for the floors, they need zero work, and I mean zero. I don't even see a little rust hole. There's just no rust at all under it. So we're gonna get the wheels off of it and check the brakes, and hopefully all the drums will come off easy. They was turning, so should be able to. I'll have to see where the rear end's been leaking a little bit, but we're going to check the rear end grease, but that looks like a 9-inch. And well, just don't see any issues. I don't see anything that would make me worry about the bottom side. You know, we boxed the frames good on these too, it looks like. Good heavy frames. So. Alright, let me get the wheels off of it and we'll go from there. Okay folks, the wheels are off. We'll go ahead and order a set of them. We're going to go ahead and pull these down, and that way I know for sure what brakes we got, width of them, and the diameter of the drum. We'll go ahead and get the brakes ordered and get the everything on the way. Okay, so we're also working on a table saw. I just put this motor on it for Jordan so we can get it down to the house and go on his trim work as soon as he gets the paint down. Look, Starsky and Hutch. Look, Bo and Luke Duke. Look, Barney and Andy. Look, Laverne and Shirley.
You don't know none of those? Yeah.
You don't know none of them?
I know Barney and Ernie, but Barney and Ernie? Or whatever you said. Andy.
Bert and Ernie?
Andy Taylor. Barney 5. No.
You know who Bert and Ernie is?
Yeah.
Who are they?
I think so.
Who are they? Who's Bert and Ernie?
The cartoon characters.
No.
Yeah, there's a Bert and Ernie.
There was Sesame Street, but
yeah,
the real Bert and Ernie was 2 policemen on a movie.
Oh, I didn't know.
Called It's a Wonderful Life. Oh. Well, I don't even know if it was. I think one of them was a policeman, one of them was maybe a taxi driver or something.
Oh, you talking about the Christmas movie?
Yeah. It's a Wonderful Life. Bert and Ernie.
That's what they named it off of?
Yeah. Y'all gonna do anything today?
You get the painting.
Get the painting. No, what about you?
Do whatever you tell me to do.
Forrest Gump.
No, I need you to run some laps around the block. Alright. Drums came off just like butter. They fell off.
Yeah. That one did mine.
Okay, so we got the drums off. I got this one off. I didn't have any problem, and then Noah seemed to have a lot of problem getting his off. I did see some blocks in there where somebody has raised it up, probably back in the 70s, on twist hands. Wanted to get it higher. Now everybody wants to get them lower. So, don't look bad in there. Brake shoes, of course, are shot. These things was just getting ready to hit the metal. But everything looks good. So, we had to order all the parts. Turn the drums. Luckily, I got a little drum lathe. And I think we're just going to fix the exhaust. We're going to fix that downpipe on this side and then add some tailpipes on it. And buy a new set of tires. I think the rims are going to be okay. Luckily, I know this thing sit on the ground, you can tell because of the tires, but when I bought this thing it was up on blocks, and I think that's a lot of what protected it. Kept all the rust out of the floors and all, but you know, they're down to nothing, but they'll be alright. We'll repack the bearings. new wheel cylinders, new rubber lines. We'll check all the steel lines, which we'll blow through them and everything, but I'm guessing they're probably pretty good. As you can see, you know, surface rust, but you know, there's no holes. I'm really impressed with this old car. I didn't think it was as nice as it was when I bought it. And maybe I'm going to order the tank. We'll check the fuel line, probably run a new fuel line, and try to get it all together. I didn't check the pan to see if we can pull it. I need to clean that pan out. It's front sump. We can probably get it out of there. I think it needs a motor mount anyway, so we'll probably take the pan off, clean it out. I see a screw-in freeze plug, one of the rubber ones with the metal washer that I don't like, so we'll be changing that. I think everything else will be okay. We'll get the pan, clean it off, take the valve covers off. We're going to run some kerosene down through, get it, you know, cleaned out as good as we can, clean the pickup up. Of course, put new gaskets, fresh oil, and try to go ahead and get this thing in shape, maybe for the next cruise in. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. Everything looks pretty good though. Pretty good. So we'll get the raising blocks out of the front of it. That's the only one I see that's got some wear. I don't know how bad that's the worst. That was the worst one to come off. It's got some grooves in it, but it's still good and thick. There'll be a minimum thickness on it, but I think we'll be fine on that. We'll get that cleaned up. And like I said, Rock Auto's got everything, so we'll just order everything from one place. I want to check these ball joints, make sure there's no play in them or anything. We'll re-grease everything, clean it up. Probably do a pressure wash all this. So, no plans to do anything but, you know, get it running and rolling. I mean, I'm not planning to do any kind of painting or restoring in any way. And still going to be for sale. So, I'm just taking it a little farther than what I originally planned. So, all right. Hey folks, Jonathan here, back on the bike, playing around a little bit. Couple things real quick first. You know, I had a lot of people, because of the chain clearance issue, say I could raise the transmission, and yeah, I can. But with my adjustment and where my frame is at, I don't want to. I don't want to cause any clearance issues on the frame with the transmission. That's a shifter, it's got to move. Also, I'm not cutting into my frame, so I would rather deal with it on the other side where the chain's running than to deal with it on this side. And you know, I've just got this tacked in. It wouldn't be a problem to take it loose and raise it, but I don't want to do that. So that's the reason. I guess I should have explained that before, but that's the reason I'm not doing that. Since it's been cold, it's 28 today, instead of fabricating, I was doing some finish work because I can stay here in front of the heater doing the finish work. Fabricating, you got to be all over the place. But so I've got my other gas cap in, but I worked on this tank, and I want to show you. Of course, I think I've showed you already. You can see I got my handle in. Now I'm not using these bars, but I just, you know, stuck them on here. That's why I didn't slide the grip on, but I did slide it on this one because this comes off with it. But my throttle, so. That's going to work out good. Front tank mount. Turn the wheels here, or the wheel. Okay, you can see I turned that piece out. I offset drilled it, and then I countersunk it, and then I put it on the tank, and then when the tanks were lined up exactly where I wanted, I drilled through it, bolted it on. Now that'll have a stainless bolt in it before it's done. This is just temporary. But you see how I done it, and what I done, and I worked on this side. It's not done, but you can see what I was talking about. I welded this up. I actually just tied it in to make it look like it was part of the tank, made for part of the tank. And so that's one side of it's close to being done. I'm going to do a little bit more because you know, I'd prefer not having any Bondo in this thing when I'm done. I'm going to try, you know, to get all the metal work as close to perfect as I can. metal's not going to fall out or crack. You know, Bondo can and will. But so once I get everything done on both tanks, then I can go through and, you know, make sure everything's good and squared, framed, you know, right. I'm going to do a little bit more work up inside and, you know, where the neck mounts. I've got to put some stops on here. The forks don't hit the tank. They come around and actually hit the frame right here, the bottom of these, as you can see on the other side. So I've got to put stops down here. I kind of hate doing it. I'd like to set it up to where you couldn't see the stop, because you know it's going to chip the paint. So I might figure something out. Maybe I'll put one that screws into stainless or something. I don't know. We'll deal with that. What else did I get? I don't know. I showed the caliper. I got my stainless bolts in for the axles. I haven't done anything on them yet, but I'm gonna, you know, turn the heads of it down, and I'm gonna make them look like axles instead of bolts. But I wanted stainless, and I think that's about it. I do have a magneto coming. Bought it from Greece. Hopefully it'll make it here. I don't see that it's left Greece yet, but you know, they're processing it through the facility, so we'll see what happens. And I bought one for a Norton motorcycle. Okay, magnetos on the British bikes all seem to run off this side, but the reason that most of them are counterclockwise is because they're gear driven. The one I just bought is actually chain driven for a Norton, so it's actually clockwise rotation from this side, so it's the correct magneto, you know, turning wise. And I bought the sprocket and chains for the Norton, so you know, we may be able to adapt them, we may not, we'll just see. And then I bought the dynamo, or the generator, and I'm sure it's 6 volt, but you know, I don't mind running 6 volt. It's not a big deal. And so it is on its way. And I actually had a YouTube subscriber that messaged me on Facebook that actually had a MO1 and offered to give it to me for just paying the shipping, but I had already bought the other one. Now he messaged me before I bought it, but I didn't. YouTube Messenger, or I'm sorry, Facebook Messenger. When I'm friends with somebody, I get all the messages, but when I'm not, I don't go in and check them, you know, and they don't give me a notification to where I know they come in, so I miss them all the time. So, but anyway, we've definitely got something coming on that. I may go ahead today. You know, I'm not going to show you all this boring work, but might just work on the tank a little bit. It's still cold, so I can turn the heat on and actually be right here in front of the heater. And I'm putting off exhaust, I'm putting off shifter until I get the magneto in. I really need to get started on the foot pegs and the everything for the, let me see, master cylinder. Everything for the pedals. There's my master cylinder I picked up, just a small master cylinder. And it should operate the back no problem. And no plans to run front brakes, just one rear. And I picked up a couple of cables too, but nothing, you know, stuff that I can work with to fabricate to make all my cables work. So anyway, the rod was missing out of the center of this. I had one, and now that I found, and now I can't find it, so it's a little tiny rod, so I've either got to come up with another rod for that or something. I don't want to use anything that's too soft, but it goes from this side all the way across the other side, and then it pushes, and that's what, you know, releases the clutch. It was missing when I bought it, so. But so I think that's what I'll work on, either on the tank or work on the back and start getting some of the stuff closed in, and some of the stuff that I really need to be doing anyway. And I've got hopefully got some metal. I can start playing with these bars a little bit, trying to get some bars made for it. But alright, I'm going to go at it and play with it here a little bit, and we'll see what happens. Okay folks, I've gotten a pretty good ways on this other tank, but I just got a call to go do a tow for a customer. So we will get back on it here in just a little bit, but it's shaping right up. Hopefully have this side done tonight, and then we can put our quarter-inch pipe fittings or whatever we put in here, 1/8 inch, and weld that in, and then I'm going to pressure test them, you know, probably like 5 psi or something, stick them down in some water before we do our cap, because our cap's vented, so should work out fine. But I don't think we're going to have any leak issues, but you never know. Better safe than sorry. Alright, I'll be back in a little bit and I'll show you more. Okay folks, ended up doing 2 toes, but I'm back and worked on the gas tank some more. And as you can see, I've got the front pretty much done. And we've got a little more to do. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Bondo, so if we can get this thing to where, you know, sandable primer, filler primer will cover everything without putting any Bondo in it, I'll be happy. We've, you know, it's not a problem to weld a little place up and grind. I think next I'm going to cut the seat back loose. Haven't been happy with it since I've done it. I sort of forced these springs straight, and when I forced them straight, I don't know, I don't like it, and the seat's just as, it's really hard. And I'm thinking that maybe if I go ahead and angle them back like they were and leave them flat with the seat, that maybe it'll have a little bit more spring to it. I've got room, so I think that's what we're going to do next. Hate doing stuff twice, but you know, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you got to. Here you go. That's what you do when you're playing with a soapstone. Alright. Hopefully, I think I'm going to tackle these bars probably too. Maybe tomorrow before I do that. It's getting kind of late, but I'm going to go ahead and get that seat arranged the way I want it. Okay, I got one cut loose, and I'll show you the difference. You see how this one is leaning back and that one is more straight up and down. I actually had somebody tell me that they liked it better before I put these brackets on it, and I was kind of with them on that, but you know, I'd pushed these pretty darn straight. So I think if we cut the other one loose and let them relax and then do the measurement, make sure they're right distance wise, and then we'll tack them down and see how it does. I think if we get a little, maybe if we get a little lean on this spring, that'll it'll maybe collapse a little better, because it didn't want to collapse at all. And it's going to be a rough ride if it don't collapse none. So let me get the other one. I hope you can see through there and see that, but I don't know. It's easier to see on camera probably than it is to see. I mean, in real life than it is to see on camera, but let me cut the other one loose and we'll see. Okay folks, I think I'm about done for the night. I've got the seat springs tacked, and you may not be able to tell it so much on camera, but I did learn something. You know, when you got lines running this way, and you know, everything at an angle, anything that's vertical is going to stand out really bad. And engine, we don't mind standing out. The rest of it, you know, needs to look like it goes together. So anyway, like I said, we're waiting on the mag. So if the mag gets here, we'll really start getting some stuff done. I want to try to get this thing finished up here. It's moving along good. Shouldn't be too much longer. And caliper bracket, let me see, fender mounts we can do before we get the magneto, and then we'll get the tank figured out. I got to go to the hardware out here and see what I've got for fittings. I know I've got some little shut-off valves and stuff, and we're going to see what we've got to be able to get our tanks tied together and all that good stuff. So anyway, I do appreciate everybody watching, and you know, like I said, it's moving along really slow, but it's moving along. So one of these days maybe I'll have more time to do projects and less time to you know, to try to work to pay bills. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but you never know. All right, bye.